Thank you so much for tuning in to Awakening with Katina Love. We are a spiritual enlightenment channel where we help you raise your consciousness and become your best version. Today, we have a returning guest, Prudence Kalu. Prudence was a guest about 3 or 4 years ago. She's a vibrational shifter, a reminder for us all, helping us to remember that we are all spiritual heroes, superheroes, just reminding each other of who we are. She currently does interviews with people around the world, sharing the journey and passion, helping and encouraging others as we learn from each other. Welcome back, Prudence. How are you?
Thank you. I am well. I am glad to be here. Thank you again for inviting me back on. I remember last time we had so much fun.
We
I'm looking
did.
forward, to today.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what have you been up to? What projects are you working on right now?
Well, kind of like you just said, I'll introduce. My name is Prudence Kalu. I do have a group on Facebook, All Things Possible, but I post both on my regular page and in the group and in a couple other groups too. It started off with me just posting the memes as I was learning. I was sharing what I was learning, and that grew and connected me to a lot of amazing people who was on the same journey. And I started
Yes.
making, yeah, a lot of relationships were built and a lot of people were connected who was on, like I said, the same mission.
Right.
um and so, like, about a few years ago, I noticed that a lot of the superhero movies that were coming out and a lot of people that I was speaking to, um were saying they were also being led and pulled to this superhero kind of theme that was happening. And what we realized was, a lot of us hold, all of us actually, not just a lot of us, all of
Mm-hmm.
us hold the power to change our lives. And usually when that happens and we discover that, something traumatic happens and catalysts us into that direction. And what happens is we find a skill or a passion through that experience that we kind of start mastering. And
Yeah.
then we get to a space where we want to help other people too, because we know what it felt like and we know what worked for us. And so we that becomes, to me, when I see people do that, that's their superpower. And there's so
Yes.
many forms of superpowers. And it's spiritual, so I always say that we're spiritual superheroes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the projects that I'm working on right now is that I'm just enjoying connecting with people, interviewing different people all around the world that are using their spiritual superpowers, and helping other people in the collective kind of awaken up. We know that there's been a shift on the earth and that a lot of people are awaken right now, and there are those who are in their beginning stages, and we're all here just holding hands, just reminding each other, of those powers, of the connection, of the oneness that we kind of all are.
Yeah. And don't we need those
Yes.
reminders? Because
Yes.
life happens. We're busy with work. We're busy with kids if we have them. We're busy with family. We're trying to balance the home life balance, trying to have
Yes.
that. And so things happen, things come up, and then we have relationships. Whether that's with a significant other or work relationships or friendships or whatever that is. And so we're always creating. So stuff is always coming up, and some of us are dealing with stuff and others are I mean everybody's dealing with something, right? Because
Yes.
this is a journey and we're spiritual beings, having this human experience. But as we navigate through, like you're saying, we just have to be reminded and of who we really are, as
Yeah.
spiritual beings, and to remind us that we are superhumans and we do have these superpowers, and we
Yes.
just like you and I being connected, and like you said, having all these relationships with new thought leaders, and Facebook is where we met.
Yes.
It's such a I love Facebook because it, like you said, it connects us with each other, and
My
we
goodness.
all have to stick together, and we are each other's tribe. So yeah, absolutely, definitely.
Yes.
Um, what brought us together was you posting those beautiful posts, those beautiful quotes and affirmations. And I've always been big on affirmations, and I just I could just feel your energy through the things that you post. And so that's what connected you and I. So,
I remember. I love that. And the reasons too, like I've seen recently, one of my friends, Brian, posted something that says, that memes are so much more than something about like memes, right? And I told him
hmm
it's a subliminal tool. So we have these things that we are posting over and over and over, sometimes with different pictures, sometimes
Yep.
slightly differently worded, but the same. And we what we see over and over or repeat over and over, as we know, with affirmations and thoughts and so forth, it helps create our reality, our experience. And
Yep.
so I found it very important. When I was posting, it was for me to be reminded of things that when I'm feeling down, when you're down, you kind of get clouded. And that's why
Yeah.
meditation is so important. So you need a reminder when
Yeah.
you're down, something that you know within yourself, but for the moment, you're so caught up in this matrix that
Right. Right.
you kind of forget. Yeah. And so I would post it there for me to remember. And when I was down, it was working. And then I found, like I think I told you before, other people saying that they found themselves in the same space and the message was also resonating with them. That helped me realize that how much as a collective we are connected, because even though
hmm
my story would be different and your story would be different, there was still this oneness with the lesson. I would say the plot of the lesson was the same, even though the storyline might be different. And so
hmm
I realized how connected we were, and that started becoming a way that I would connect with people is through my memes. Um,
Yes.
yeah, and I found that to be very fun and powerful also.
Absolutely. So so for me it's like when we see those memes, we get reminders, and if we, like you're saying, seeing the same thing over and over, that's something that we need to see and hear. And to me, there's no coincidence when we
Yes.
see those inspirational
Yeah.
quotes. It's something that we need to pay attention to because nothing happens by accident.
Yes. Yeah.
You know. Yes, yes, yes. So, would you like to share with us your awakening journey? Like, when did you start to awaken?
So, like I always tell people this too, and when I do my interviews and just in sharing with people too, our awakening journey I realize happens from the time we left our mother's womb, her
Mm-hmm.
belly.
Mm-hmm.
So there are different things that catalyst us a little bit more every time, deeper and deeper into spiritual connection, because as we've been learning, like that's where it really goes back to for us to have a full experience of this life. So my awakening journey started from when I was born, but what catalyzed me more into being able to stand up and really define what I believe and not what I was being taught to believe
Mm-hmm.
was when my youngest daughter had cancer. She was 2 years old and she fell. We discovered she had cancer, and um, that really, prior to that, I had read Neil Donald Walsh's book, The Conversations with God.
Mm-hmm.
And so I realized kind of like I was holding God in this box, and a lot of things that he spoke about really shook me up, woke me up. And then her experience was bringing all of what I had learned kind of into my face.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so like her experience of healing um went through, I wasn't even aware at the moment what I was doing, but I was working with the doctors as well as as I was doing what I felt inspired to do to help her healing. One of the
Mm-hmm.
things that really kind of took me out of the box though seriously was I noticed one day, because I was very into going to church. I was brought up Hindu and Christian, but my mom gave
Mm-hmm.
us freedom to choose, and I chose to go into the church. And so one of the things I had realized being up in the room that we were in, the fourth floor, was everybody was there was asking when their child was in a critical stage. We were
Mm-hmm.
asking for prayer, and we didn't care which God you prayed to. We just wanted you to pray to something that was bigger than us that would save our babies.
Yes.
And it started making me realize that God is much more bigger than a name. And like I
Mm-hmm.
said, prior to that, I was brought up Hindu in religion. So I had a lot of my Hindu religion, but I put it on the back burner because, you know, the church taught you that there was only one religion.
Mm-hmm.
What really also like stamped it for me was when she was at towards the ending stage of the treatment. We were in a hospital in St. Pete, and a lady came in and she was supposed to clean Jasmine's room after every treatment because there was this treatment. She had RSV, and she
Hmm.
had this treatment. When she was done, the walls and everything in the room needed to be wiped down. I had to be in a gown and covered up and all that
Wow.
stuff. And when she was done, this lady came in. It was night. It was late, and she was cleaning. And I was just laying there, and she was cleaning. And then I seen her disappear.
Mm.
The next day, someone else came in and they cleaned the room. I was like, "What happened to her?" They said, "We don't know if she left for the night or something happened." So the next day, I seen her in the hallway, and I said, "What happened to you?" I said, "I'm surprised you walked out. You left the room, and I didn't see when you left." And she said, "I had to leave your room because," she goes, "I don't know anything about Indian gods, but do you know about Indian?" I said, "Yes." She said, "There was an elephant god standing behind you, and the light was
Wow.
so bright. I had to leave the room quickly." And she's like, "And right now, there's this," and she described Lechmi to me. Now, remember, I had been in the
Wow.
church. Yeah, I had been in church. She goes, "You have to get elephant jewelry and wear that." And she's like, and it was freaking her out that she was telling me that. And I knew at
She was
that time,
channeling, probably. Didn't
yes,
know it. Yeah.
yeah, and did not know it. I
Not
realized
know
at
it.
that time was that I needed to be open up more to God in all of God's form, and it did. I did, and just more and more lessons, more and more growth, more and more realizations has happened and still happening since then. But yeah, that in a nutshell, as much as
Hmm.
that, that's how it started for me. And then like I said, I started searching out more. Um, Jasmine's treatment was finished after 2 years. We lived pretty much in the hospital, and her treatment was finished, and I went into depression because I thought, what am I going to do now? I was focused and ready to, like, for the rest of my life be in the hospitals and do all the stuff. And now they said, we're done. I have no papers. I don't know how to work. I don't know where, none, I didn't know how to work, but where I was going to work. And
Hmm.
while Source was working all that out, because I ended up getting my papers through that so that I can work and all this thing happened, I found a DVD because my
Hmm.
mom used to listen to Wayne Dyer, Anthony Robbins, and stuff like that when I was younger. I would hear her listen. She
Wow.
played it loud in the house, so we all had to listen to it when we had to. She put it on. So, and I found a DVD with him, and in the DVD, it lifted my spirit so much. So I went on YouTube and searched him, and Anita Moore, Johnny and him came up, and she had a very similar story where she had just went into remission, or maybe had been like 3 years or so since she had been in remission from cancer healing in her body, and she had a near-death experience where she died, but
Wow.
she came back. And I remember it fascinated me, and I went to go look for more of them talking. And I went walking one morning and seen that she was coming to Fort Lauderdale, which is like 2.5 hours away from where I was living. And I was like, I want to go. 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 And I was walking, I was getting all excited. My friend says, why don't you write her? Let her know. And I wrote her. And her person who was, I forgot what she's called, but the person who helps them do all their work and their paperwork and stuff, wrote me back and said, Anita is willing to give up her and her husband's ticket for you guys, for you to come.
Wow.
And I was like, are you serious? And she's like, I'll be right back with you. And she emails me back and says, they're sending you 2 tickets so you can bring a friend. So I was like, oh my
Wow.
God. I went to the I Can Do It conference, and there was Wayne Dyer was there, Joe Dispenza was there.
Wow. The
Nick,
powerhouses.
yeah, it was, and that was it. That was it for me. It was a fire starter.
Oh, it's
And
amazing.
it was so amazing. And from there, it's continuously still learning so much fun and information and ups and downs. But yeah, that's
Wow,
how
that's incredible.
it has been.
So going back to that, when you were in the hospital room and the lady saw the big elephant god, did she
Yes.
describe to you what that was? Were you
She
able to
did.
see it?
Yeah, she said she's seen this big elephant, but with gold around him. And she described he had gold bracelets on and his
Wow.
trunk. And she said it was very bright coming from behind me, which is so funny because growing up in Trinidad and even here in America, my mom always have an altar in our house, and like our house was a museum at one point where we had all kind of posters because my mom learned about vision board. She made the whole house a vision board.
Wow, that's incredible.
And so she had, I always had a connection, to have a connection. People would come in and tell me I look like Shiva.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I always have this connection. As a matter of fact, even my first daughter, I'm named her middle name, even though it's a male. I named her Shiva. Um,
Mhm.
so when she said that to me, it did shock me because I know it's relation to Shiva, but Ganesh is the son of Shiva. And so I know what Ganesh represents. And at the time, with the obstacle of with Jasmine and all of these things happening, I knew she was going to be healed. I just knew she was. As a matter of fact, that's how this lady and I were talking. She first came into the room. She started saying that she can see sometimes like spirits, but she was, kind of feeling me out to see how she can speak to me. And I was comfortable. And I told her, I believe in that. And she said sometimes she'll see when the kids are about to leave, transition,
Wow.
and so I stopped her. I didn't even know if that's what she was intending.
Right,
I said,
right.
I want to tell you right now, my child is not going anywhere. She's going to live in the name of Jesus. And then I claimed that up and down. So it kind of shook her a little bit. But we
Wow.
ended it nicely. And she goes, no, yes, I just sometimes I seen it's so hard for me. I don't know if I should tell. I said, well, just follow your heart. And we kind of just left the conversation, and she started cleaning the room. And so
Mhm.
shortly
Mhm.
after, when she seen that, so when she told me that the next day, I was like, I know my daughter was gonna make it. So
Wow, that's incredible.
yeah,
It's a beautiful story.
thank you. It's been 10 years now since Jasmine's in remission. So she is
It's
12,
beautiful.
gonna be 12. Yeah. So I'm so grateful to just all the experiences I've had from since that something so bad in your life happening can deliver so much more goodness.
Yes, yes, and it's led you to where what you're doing now is
Yes.
encouraging and uplifting and inspiring
Yes.
other people to become their best version and to
Yes.
enjoy this spiritual journey that we're on, as human
Yeah.
beings. And like you said, and to know that there's so much more than what we've been taught,
Yes.
growing up. There's so much more to who we are, and it's just a beautiful thing that you're here helping people to remember
Yeah.
because before we got here we knew who we were, and then
Yeah.
we we decided to come through as a human and have this human experience, and so we forgot, and so your job is to help us to remember.
Yeah, well, all of us, right? All of us. It's not even just my job. I think it's just
Yeah.
one of these things that all of us we made this agreement to come on here. When I did an interview with Gage on, I think it was Saturday, we were talking about this is the hot spot. Earth is the
Uh-huh.
hot. There's
Uh-huh.
everybody waiting to come on here and experience this too. And so a lot of times I just want to remind people too, because it's happening a lot right now. I know the planets play a part of this experience too, and helps us kind of guides us with our shift of what's happening. And so a lot of people are going through a shift right now too, another shift or
Yes.
their first shift or however you want to say it. But there are going to be times when it feels very hard and difficult. And we feel like, why would I have chosen this experience to experience such hardship? Why would I have experienced this? I like to remind people that our planet continues to grow. We were once at 5 billion, 4, maybe even 1, I'm sure. Not, I'm sure it was 1 billion. Now we're at 7 billion, I think getting ready to hit up onto 8 billion people on this planet. So
Mm-hmm.
I believe there's something in our souls that really truly enjoy this experience, and it may be like a roller coaster ride. You know, when you go on there, you're kind of scared and you're screaming, but when you get up, you're like, "Oh my god, that was so fun! I want to do it again."
Yeah.
I feel like that is what this experience of life must be like. But in the flesh, physical experiencing it at the moment, we're screaming in the ride, like, "Oh shit, we're about to go down this."
Right.
Oh, and then until we get off, we're like, whoa, because that's how it is in trials. A lot of times when you stop and you look back, you're like, wow, that really taught me, that really grew me, that really, helped.
Right.
So be
That's
encouraged, my friends, is what I want to say. Whoever's listening to this, whenever you hear this, to be encouraged and to know that it is a ride, it is temporary, it's an experience that we're here. So breathe easy, literally.
remember to take those deep breaths.
Yes. And center yourself back. There's a purpose we're all here for.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Prudence.
Yes,
And you're on Facebook. So your spiritual group is all things possible, one word.
one
And
word.
so they can find you there. Are there any other places that you would like to
Yes, I'm on
share?
Instagram as All Things Possible 37. I'm on on YouTube. I have all the lives that I've done there also on YouTube. You can type in either Prudence Kalu and it'll pop up, or All Things Possible 37. It'll also pop up. And I think that is it for right now. Just Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thanks for being a guest today. Keep on doing what you're doing, and
Thank you.
I'm sure we're gonna have another conversation. So
Yeah.
until we meet again, thank you so much and
Thank you
namaste.
so much for having me, my friend. I truly love you and appreciate this. Thank you.
I love you too. Thanks for tuning in to Awakening with Katina Love. Namaste.
Namaste.